Commander SCIFI watched from the observation platform as the human woman descended the ramp into the training grounds. The dragon cubs, 17 of them, each the size of a grizzly bear, were arranged in perfect formation. They'd been waiting for 3 hours in the sweltering heat of Kareth 7, their scale hides gleaming with nervous sweat. The protocol was simple: observe, learn, report back to the Draconic Council. Humans were supposed to be fragile creatures, inferior in every measurable way. 5 worlds had been conquered by the Dragon Collective. This human would be no different from the others, a specimen to study before disposal. Then she stepped onto the training field. All 17 cubs broke formation simultaneously. It wasn't a chaotic scatter. It was a coordinated, explosive rush, a wall of muscle and teeth and claw thundering across the crimson sand toward the lone human. SCIFI's heart skipped a beat. This was against every protocol, every ingrained hierarchical command structure that governed dragon behavior. Cubs didn't break rank. They didn't disobey. The conditioning began at hatching, but they were running toward her like she was their mother. The human didn't flee. Commander SCIFI's optical sensors zoomed in, certain she was witnessing a recording malfunction. But no, the woman was advancing to meet them, her arms spread wide, a sound emanating from her that reverberated across the training grounds. Laughter. She was laughing. The first cub reached her, nearly 20 meters ahead of the others. It was Kess, the largest and most aggressive of the batch. SCIFI had watched Kess draw blood from 2 senior trainers last week. The cub's jaws opened impossibly wide, rows of teeth like daggers glinting in the afternoon sun. The human reached out and scratched its chin. Kess collapsed against her like a creature half his size, his powerful tail swinging in wild, uncontrolled arcs. The other cubs arrived seconds later, surrounding her in a frenzy of scales and wings. And excited chirps. One tried to climb her back. Another pressed its snout against her chest. A third, the smallest one, barely 2 meters long, curled up at her lap as she knelt in the sand. Her name, SCIFI demanded of the trainer standing beside the observation platform. Specialist Kaya Chun, the trainer replied, his voice trembling. From the Human Research Division. 3 years studying dragon development. She volunteered for this assignment. I can see she's volunteered for something, SCIFI muttered, adjusting the magnification again. The human was now moving between the cubs, touching each one with practiced precision, behind the ears, along the spinal ridges between the horns. Everywhere she touched, the dragons responded with visible relaxation, their aggression bleeding away into something far more disturbing: contentment. One of the cubs, Shraff, a territorial male with a violent streak, was allowing her to examine his wings. Shraff had snapped at 2 handlers just this morning. What is she doing? SCIFI breathed. I'm not entirely sure, the trainer admitted, but I've reviewed the human literature she submitted with her application. Something about understanding neurobiology through gentleness instead of dominance. SCIFI's claws extended reflexively. They had brought her here expecting humans to cower, to submit to observation through fear. Instead, this woman had walked into a den of apex predators and somehow convinced them that she was safe. By the end of the training session, all 17 cubs were lying in a pile around her, their breathing synchronized, their eyes half closed in what could only be described as bliss. She sat in the center of this heap of dragon flesh, making strange clicking sounds, running her small pink paws across scales that could deflect plasma fire. As she stood to leave, the cubs raised their heads in unison. For a moment, SCIFI thought they might rush her again, might try to prevent her departure. Instead, they watched her walk toward the exit ramp, their eyes tracking her every movement. SCIFI turned to the trainer. The human is to be given full access to all dragon facilities. All cubs are to be made available for whatever training protocols she deems appropriate. Commander, I'm not sure that. That's not a suggestion. SCIFI cut him off. The dragon commander's hearts were beating rapidly now, not with alarm, but with something far more troubling: curiosity. The council wishes to understand how their military breeding program can be improved. But as ZYX watched Kaya Chun disappear up the ramp, the specialist already planning her next training session, the commander thought something the Dragon Collective had never truly considered. Perhaps strength wasn't measured in teeth and flame at all. Perhaps it was measured in the ability to make an apex predator choose to follow you willingly into darkness.